This is nice. It's a real divided opinion. Yeah. First of all, in what way did it keep you on your toes, Martin?
Well, first of all, when I first heard this, I thought it was like some sort of Victorian throwback. You know, that women aren't allowed to have lives, or it's disrespectful, or it's mistrusting. I just think that it's a healthy thing to do. In business, in this day and age, there are so many women managers, and I think if you don't schmooze, you lose. I encourage my missus to go out with the lads after work because a lot of her bosses are male. So go for it, get involved, network, that's great. But on a personal side, I often go out with my mates' wives, for example, after the school run. It kind of goes into... not in that
Where'd
sense.
you go?
Well...
Just go to the pub with the kids, and then they might go back, and babysitters are expensive, so why should both of us... So one of us stays out with our friends, and that's perfectly healthy. It's an extension of our social life. And if she goes out with guys, I think, well, I'd better keep myself in shape. I better keep myself, looking good, because, to give them the trust, you need to make sure that they've got something that they want to go.
Has there never been a moment where there's been, there's one particular guy and you've thought, oh, God, I really worry about that one?
Yeah, I mean, my wife is a very beautiful lady, and men flirt with her, but it doesn't bother me. I trust her, and I'm not a jealous type. All of this, to me, strikes off, we do this. I think it's almost always one partner, maybe the bloke, saying, actually, I don't want you to do that. I think it's controlling. I think it's control freakery of the very highest order. It's unhealthy.
It's unhealthy.
I saw Rebecca just having a little snicker then, didn't you?
I was thinking about the fact he goes out with his friends' wives. But yeah, no, I don't see any particular need or necessary reason to do that. I mean, you're saying that you do it to keep you on your toes. Why do you need to be kept on your toes? Also, I'm going to say, do you have absolutely no jealousy? Your wife goes out for dinner, an intimate dinner, with somebody of the opposite sex, and you have absolutely no jealousy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Honestly, don't.
I think there's an issue there.
But why? Why not?
Yeah,
They trust each other.
I don't think it's about a level of trust. I think it's about a level of respect. And I think that in any healthy relationship, jealousy is actually partly a good thing. I know that I've been in a relationship where I absolutely had zero jealousy, and that wasn't right. It just wasn't right. Somebody once said to me, if you're not a little bit psycho about somebody, it's just not OK. And I agree with that. I agree.
And this girl runs a detective agency. Now, has this come out of the cases that you've been on? No. Has it been increased, or did you always have these feelings?
I have not always had these feelings. I'm not going to sit here and profess to be some kind of saint. By anybody's stretch of the imagination, that is not accurate. But what I can say is that, essentially, I just think that there needs to be a level where you are actually concerned about somebody, because I think it shows that you care to an extent. And if you're OK with your partner going out and doing whatever they want, I think it just raises bigger questions. But there's also the question of temptation. Is it OK to just sort of go out there, and is it part of a bigger picture, a bigger jigsaw puzzle?
Well, let me tell you where all this started, certainly what sparked our chat this morning. Over the weekend, the Washington Post published a biographical piece about Karen Pence, and during the interview, she brought to light a comment that Mike Pence had made in 2002, suggesting that it was completely inappropriate to dine with the opposite sex or go to an event where you consume alcohol without your partner by your side. So that's the first time we've mentioned the influence of alcohol in this. So if you just go out and you are... Obviously, people go out, have meetings, or they, maybe someone's upset, and let's go and sit on a park bench and we'll chat that through. I don't know whether that's OK for you to do that with a member of the opposite sex, but is it different if there is alcohol?
Well, personally speaking, I'm pretty much virtually a teetotaler, so I don't particularly drink alcohol. However, I do know a lot of people that alcohol does have a factor in what they do. And like I say, it's part of a bigger jigsaw puzzle. It's just like the little pieces that all come together that make a bigger picture. And, temptation, going out for an intimate dinner. What can you achieve over an intimate dinner with somebody that you can't achieve by a normal sort of working environment meeting or going for coffee with them? Really, what?
Yeah, lots. Well, because you get more time, you get more one-on-one face time, particularly with the boss. You get time to air your issues and ensure that your agenda is on the table, not just dinner. Well, it doesn't have to be a romantic dinner. I mean, dinner these days can be like a Nando's. That's how I treat my missus.
New romantic dinner.
Exactly. On Valentine's
Honestly,
Day. But the point is, it's worth pointing out that Mike Pence is also a born-again evangelical Christian.
I mean, that statement does come across like something from Prohibition, doesn't it, really?
And it does feel like that. And I feel to lay down these laws actually shows a lack of respect. You're saying it shows respect to have jealousy. I think it's a lack of respect to not trust.
No, it's not about trust. It's not about trust.
But it
I
is
disagree
though,
with that.
isn't it?
No, because I think you can completely trust somebody. It's just, do you really want your partner going out, people who know you seeing them and saying, oh, he was out to dinner with another woman? What does that mean?
Well, I think that's a
I
90...
think it
not
does
nice.
depend on the circumstances, don't you?
Well, we were talking about, we've discussed this most of the morning. So we're sitting having a cup of tea this morning.
He's bribing me, saying, please don't... Well, no, I said, please, can I tell everybody, when we went out for dinner, we were both filming, we were away in Northern Ireland, we were filming, and Phil and I went out to dinner together because we were filming there in another place together. It would be strange if we didn't have dinner together. You must see
Go
that.
on, finish it off.
OK, well, he ended up throwing up all over me.
Oh, dear.
I got food
Nice.
poisoning.
Poor Phil.
I
That's
got
what
food
he
poisoning,
said.
so the one moment it actually happened, I let myself down so badly.
We were in that oyster bar, weren't we? And that was it.
Yeah,
Gone.
well, there you go.
Anyway.
That's what happens. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen.